Hi, and welcome back to the Terra Nova Yoga Philosophy Talks and Meditations. So we're going to be talking about yogic philosophy and traditional Indian ideas so that we can deepen our practice and our yogic experience. So today we're going to, I'm Tess. So today we're going to be talking about prana. And prana is known, and the word prana is most commonly known from the word pranayama, meaning prana, which is vital energy force, and yama, which is regulated. So all of our breathing practices, a lot of our meditations will be pranayama. So when we talk about prana, we're talking about energy. And this is kind of, people get it confused that prana is air, it's breath. And it's actually the energy inside of that breath. So prana is also present in plants and animals. It's what gives them life, it's what gives them vitality, it's what allows them to grow. So a plant with a lot of prana grows really well. An animal with a lot of prana will be healthier and happier. But we also have prana in things like water, in fire. So a trickling stream will add prana to the space. Or a plant in a house, right? Or an open window, allowing a breeze through. So all of that adds prana to a space. Now prana is the first thing that we do when we're born. And it's the last thing that we do when we die. And that oxygen that comes with prana is so vital for all of our organs. It's in our blood, and it's necessary for our brain. Without prana, we become, we're not able to think properly. So this is something that happens when we get really stressed out, right? We start breathing really slowly. And we start breathing really slowly or shallowly. We don't have enough oxygen to our brain, and our brain stops moving and taking in and processing information as fast as we need it to, especially in those stressful situations. So you've probably come across it, when you're a kid, your parents will ask you, they'll say, okay, take 10 deep breaths. Like, and this is such a powerfully calming effect that we use it even outside of yogic traditions. Everybody uses it. And the reason for that is because it brings enough oxygen into our brain, it gives us a moment of space to think clearly and to reevaluate what's going on with that extra oxygen in our brain so that we can calm down and look at things rationally. So scientifically, we know that pranayama has an effect on our cognitive abilities, giving us more focused, more calm, clear thinking. But we also know that it's really effective on blood pressure and our heart rate. So if our heart rate is weak, we can use pranayama to quicken it. And the reason for that is because, again, we're taking in this oxygen, right, and bringing it into our circulatory. So in yoga, one of the things that we say is good phlegm in, bad phlegm out. And this is the same with prana, and it's also the same with water. So if we fill ourselves with good water, or good phlegm, or good prana, then all of that old stagnant stuff will leave us. And this is really important for our diet and the space that we choose to be around, right? When we are taking care of the prana that we're around, when we're making sure that we're in healthy environments, when we're around plants, when we're around water, when we're not spending a lot of time in the cities or around sickly people. This is really important for making sure that our prana is coming in purified. It's also, having a water filter can be really important because it definitely ensures that we have, good prana in our water. So something that happens with, when we're going for a walk in the forest, a big part of that is to ensure that we have healthy prana. That fresh air, right? People talk about having that fresh air. When we're on the top of a mountain, right, we have this fresh air. When we open a window, we have this fresh air. It's the same with, like if you walk into a room where somebody's been sleeping for hours, it's warm, it smells kind of bad, like there's, or someone's sick, like there's bacteria in the air, and, that is contaminated prana. And this is usually, this is avoidable. This is something we want to open a window. We naturally want to do that. We naturally have that understanding in our bodies to, get that air, that prana flowing freshly so that we can have a better experience. So when we're around really, really good prana, we become more spiritually naturally. So having a clean space, the top of the mountain, within the forest, when we're around this really pure, fresh prana, we kind of go into a spiritual state of being. So you can only imagine that when we're doing our deep breathing, and we're taking in conscious prana, and we do take in more prana when we are breathing, right, consciously. When we're consciously breathing, we're going to have a higher intake of prana than if we're non-consciously breathing. So we can understand the importance of conscious breath. So there's a lot of different types of prana in the yogic system, and we have our healthy prana, which is bodily prana, right? So, and the first one is the heart one, and this one comes through our mouth and into our heart, and it's song, it's talking, it's chanting, it's mantra, it's just regular breath practice or just regular breathing. So this is a positive prana. We have a less clean prana through our body, which is of course coming out of us when we're going to the bathroom. And this prana is, obviously we know that it's not pure. And then we also have another kind of impure prana, which is through the mouth, but it's coughing, it's wheezing, it's sneezing, it's hiccups. So this is compromised prana as well. And then, so one of the interesting things about prana is that it's also known and used in a lot of different societies. So there's a lot of different cultures that have been using prana very closely since almost the beginning of time. It's really our modern world that has stopped using this idea of energy within living things. So, in other cultures, it's called a whole bunch of things. So it's called chi, it's called mana, so that's the Polynesian is mana, Chinese is chi, we've got ruha for Islamic, we've got in Hebrew, odd in German, and these are all words that and of course in English we would call it energy, right? So, and when we think about energy, we're really thinking about something that is very similar to air, right? It moves freely, it's ethereal, we can't really hold it, it moves, right? It's free form, and this is why it gets mistaken the most for air. Now, the thing with that is that it is different than air because we also have prana, and we have prana the most in living beings, so plants and animals, people, but in also their bodily fluids, so blood and semen and spit, these kind of things have this prana in them, right? This energy. as well. We can direct energy through conscious thought, but also conscious action. So again, that's why having that conscious breathing practice is so powerful. So some of the breathing practices that we see in Indian culture, the pranayama, are very much aimed at that conscious movement of energy and to purify the body by bringing more in so that old stuff can leave. And those practices, there are so many of them. So I'm just going to go through a couple quick ones. We've got our breath of fire, which is when we take about 4 to 8 seconds, or 12, breath in. And then we really sharply, we squeeze and we breathe out really strong. And this is a really great way to cleanse our system. You can imagine that a lot of things come out of us. So if you've got, this is very similar to a sneeze, right? The quick burst is very cleansing, the same way that a sneeze is. So that sort of breath is used for enlivening and invigorating the energy and also cleansing it. So another breath that we have is the slower breath, which is 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. Of course, it can be 4, it can be 8, it can be 12. And that one is and that is really our basic breath, right? So when we're doing that, we're filling our entire lungs, we're filling our diaphragm and our belly. And this breath brings in a lot of chi, a lot of prana, and it also brings in a lot of oxygen, which of course our entire body and brain, our blood, needs. It's very important for all of the interfunctionings of the body. If we didn't have it for even a few minutes, our entire system would start to shut off instantly. Unlike food and water, our body needs constant airflow, making it the most important incoming thing. Now, prana is also understood as a sort of food in a way. So in yogic philosophy, thought is considered food. Physical food, of course, water, but so is prana, right? So when we take it in, it is mixing with our system in the very much the same way as physical food. Now, the other thing that we can think about when we're eating food is what kind of prana is in it. And of course, our living food is always going to have more prana. So tomatoes and cucumbers, the sooner it came out of the garden, the more prana it's going to have. So the fresher it is. If we just got it from a farmer's market, that's a really great place. If we just picked it out of the garden, that's even better. By the time it's been, packaged and shipped and, transformed, and if it's meat, dead, it's starting to lose that prana and that vitality and actually starting to become problematic. So it starts to become disease-ridden, and this is really something that we don't want, right? This is considered bad prana. So we really want to focus on bringing fresh prana into our body, and that's how we keep our bodies healthy for a long time. I'd say that older cultures and like ancient cultures really recognize and understand this. In Western culture, a lot of the time we don't even believe in this casual, subconscious, subtle energies. We kind of even have a feeling of laughing at them because we don't feel like they're really true. But almost all cultures have their word for it and have documented understanding of it that has been mostly lost because it has been so connected to our understanding of the universe. And when we come back to that understanding, we can see so many benefits in our lives. We start to be more conscientious about living in a clean space. Our air quality, our water quality, the quality of our food, how alive is it? And instantly through implementing that, our lives become infinitely healthier. So the benefits of having conscience around the prana that we're taking in can really transform our lives when we actually start to. And that's really, we think about that and we look at our world and we think about, we need to be taking better care of our collective, spaces and our collective prana. We should be planting more plants in public spaces. We should be making more water features in public spaces. And how beautiful. But it has more practicality than just being beautiful. It's actually physically healthier for our bodies, as well as, limiting smog and, unhealthy, fossil fuels being, dead and coming back into our air can be really harmful for our entire system, which all of our nadis really rely on having that clean flowing prana to make sure that we are in optimum health and functioning. So these are our thoughts on prana today, and I'm really happy to get to share them with you. If you have any questions, of course, in the comments. I'm sure that there were some more things that I could have gone over for prana. There are so many amazing resources out there, and I really recommend that you go and fill your life and your knowledge with as much as this. Obviously, the first 10th time you hear this, sometimes you don't take it in as much as you could, but the more that you get this kind of information, the more that it will become subconscious, and you will just naturally think about your prana on a day-to-day level. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tess, and we'll see you next time when we'll be talking about our next topic. Thank you. Bye.